Hi guys. Welcome to All Things Royal. Let's plunge right into another chapter of Wendy Berry's book, The Housekeeper's Diary, Charles and Diana Before the Breakup. As was mentioned in earlier videos, this book has been banned in the UK through litigious action taken by the then Prince Charles versus Wendy Berry. So this alone should clue you in on how this book may contain some details which Charles does not want known. As mentioned in the previous video, this chapter is entitled, Camilla. Now Wendy, in this chapter further discusses how Charles and Diana are behaving as a couple. Wendy likens them to toddlers in a tantrum, trying to get on each other's nerves like it's almost a blood sport. They are clearly very angry with one another and are trying to score points off one another. Charles was also visiting Camilla a lot at this point. Sometimes after the boys went to sleep. Remember, Charles and Diana were sleeping in different rooms at this point, so if Charles was not in his bedroom at night, then Diana would not know. But the staff like Wendy would know, of course. Wendy also talks about the arrival of Paul Burrell in Highgrove. Paul and his wife Maria used to work in Buckingham Palace for the Queen. Now Paul was a bit surprised with the atmosphere in Highgrove, meaning, he was not used to arguments and the very tense atmosphere in Highgrove caused by Charles and Diana's gradually crumbling marriage. It was at Highgrove where Paul heard doors slamming several times, and he remarked that this would not ever have happened in Buckingham Palace where the Queen resided. The atmosphere in Highgrove was so volatile that it really affected the staff. In fact, it drove James, Wendy Berry's son, to resign. He was usually in Highgrove during weekends. He worked in London most times, but he could not handle the drama of Charles and Diana. He said that they were both bad, both selfish, and he could not handle the stress of such atmosphere, so he resigned. Anyway, James did love working for the Queen, whom he described as kind and lovely and gracious. He also mentioned how polite the Queen always was and how she often would stop and express a quiet word now and then to the staff as she passed. She was also very loyal to the older staff. One of the older royal guards, for instance, was known to get drunk and just pass out drunk in the palace grounds. The Queen would sometimes come upon him and would simply walk around him. She would mention him to the sergeant of arms, saying that the old guard needed a hand. No more was said about him. James mentioned how the Queen never passed judgment on anyone, nor did she put anyone on the disadvantage. Anyway, Wendy also would say that Charles was getting a lot of calls from Camilla and from his old friend Lady Tryon. Major David Waterhouse was also calling Diana a lot. There were rumors of a romance between David and Diana, but it seems David and Diana simply knew each other since their school days. Diana was also receiving calls from Philip Dunn, who was an investment banker. At one point, Charles and Diana attended a wedding, and during the reception, Diana was having so much fun dancing, but mostly with Philip. Charles tried to stop this and tried to cut in, but Diana didn't allow it. So it was a bit awkward. And so Charles announced he was headed home, and home he went. Diana, on the other hand, stayed until dawn. Now at breakfast, Charles would come down first, and it was obvious he was angry about something. When Diana came down, they did not talk to one another. So this made for a very awkward and tense atmosphere in Highgrove. Wendy also tells of a staff barbecue where even Charles and Diana were invited. Charles did not attend because he believed that the staff would not be able to relax if he was there. Diana attended, and Wendy describes how Diana danced merrily and sometimes suggestively during the party, not with the men, but with the female staff. Wendy said it was all in the name of fun and everyone had a great time. Wendy also describes the friendship between Sarah Ferguson and Diana. Sarah also came to rely on Charles' advice on how to deal with the press. Based on other books written about this time, I think Diana was also feeling a bit wary of Sarah, who was having a lot of conversations with Charles. Diana was a bit worried about some of the stuff she told Sarah Ferguson being relayed to Charles. Anyway, coming up into the December Christmas ball for the staff, Wendy narrates how she observed Diana come up to the staff, hug them and kiss them on both cheeks. They could see Charles' expression being a bit surprised because this was something he was unlikely to do with staff, and it was also not something he usually saw Diana do with staff, but there they were. Anyway, this is it for this chapter. The next chapter is entitled The Riding Instructor. Anyway, what do you guys think of Wendy's revelations in this chapter? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel. For now, bye and have a nice day.